is everybody doing this evening? Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button. And today, we about to get into it. Did Nick Bosa MAGA crash out? Let me know in the comments. Did he crash out? Matter of fact, let's just get right into that. Did Nick Bosa, did he MAGA crash out? Let's see if I can share this little picture real quick. So, it's reported that after a game, Brock Purdy was being interviewed, and Nick Bosa pretty much crashed the interview wearing a MAGA hat. Not the red MAGA hat. The red MAGA hat, that's the hot boy hat. This was probably the
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
this is the kind of hat that you'll wear that you probably got to get a double take because it's not like it don't stand out. This the hat they kind of changed the colors. I wonder why they didn't stick with the red, but they got a blue one now with gold letters, and they got a white one with gold letters now. But because he went up there and he did this, did he MAGA crash out? A random crash out. Sometimes this happens in life. Sometimes you think something is so cool, the idea pop up in your head, and you don't think it out, and you just do it randomly. I've been there. I've done that. I've said a random joke I shouldn't have said. I've had a random thought that I shouldn't have had. I've done a random thing that I shouldn't have done. I've been there. The election, it's election time too. It's really hot in the streets in the election time. And for him to do that, he really crashed out. Now, the thing that probably saved him, other than the obvious, is he didn't answer any more questions about it. He just stayed away from it. They asked him about it. He said, I don't want to talk about it. I think he realized real quick that he might have crashed out as well. And he stayed away from the heat. Because the press, the media, they're going to apply that heat. But he stayed away from it, and it might have took some of the heat off of him. But I think the NFL, when I was coming home, they said they may be investigating it, but we'll see how they go. They always say stuff like, "Oh, we're gonna investigate it," and then they'll come back and say, "Oh, NFL, we didn't see anything wrong. He's expressing his free speech or whatever." We know how they go. But first of all, let's look at this from an objective standpoint. Think I think he gonna expose a double standard or hypocrisy, however you want to put it. But they exist. And when you talk about, let me find that spectrum real quick. Um, Let me find it real quick. Nope. So, when you think about this is, I'm going to say gray area, more so than race. Some people going to say race. I'm going to say more gray area, like bias, unfairness, somewhere in there. I'm going to say that because if another person wore a different kind of hat, they could have got crucified for wearing it. Let's say another guy come in there and he come in there with an NOI hat on. What do you think's gonna happen? If he point at it, make reference to it on national TV, what do you think's gonna happen? And this is what people deal with in life all the time. It just happens in sports. But this happens all the time in regular life. It could fall on this spectrum, most of the situations. And most of it being in gray area. Stereotype, manipulation, bias, unfairness exploited. Sometimes one person can do this, but if can do A, but if another person do A, they're gonna feel they'll get reprimanded for it. They'll get in trouble for it. That's how life is. I wish I could tell you something better, but that's how life is. And the best thing to do is learn how to endure and keep it moving. Don't allow that gray area, the unfairness, even race. Don't allow it to keep you down, hold you down. Find a way to overthink and overcome situations that happen. You have to. Because in life, life doesn't wait on you to recover. Life doesn't wait on you to get over it. Life keeps going, whether you keep going with it or not. I'm just trying to give you a understanding that things happen. The gray area stuff happens. The race stuff happens. But the best thing you could do is take notes, understand that hey, what goes for him may not go for me. Once I know how the game is played, it's up to me to play the game at a high level and stay away from the fouls, stay away from out of bounds, within reason of what I can do. We talked about this on the podcast. Putting your feelings in the wrong areas can be risky. Other people's thoughts, material things, and what other people are doing. I'm not worried about what Little Richard doing. I'm not worried about that. Oh, I keep picking the wrong slide. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about what Mike can do, what gives Mike the advantage, and how do I put myself in position to make moves. Period. So, got through that little piece. Was it a plan or random action? Let me know in the comments what you think.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Bring around the world tonight. Bring around the world tonight.
A lot of times it could start out random, then it goes to plan. You just won the game. You're on a high, probably winning the game. Not giving them no excuses, but and you looking at it, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna put this hat on and I'm gonna go on camera, crash this interview. So it could be kind of both a planned random action based on the circumstance. And I bet you he probably regretted it when he went to the locker room. You see all the media kind of coming towards you now. You're like, what in the world? And then they're asking you about it, trying to get a reaction out of you. And he said, I don't want to talk about it. May have been the smartest thing. Now, some people going to say why he didn't stand on it. Guess what? Sometimes when you do something random, you realize, dang, I shouldn't have done it. You got to know when to stop. Some people just going to stand on it just on principle. And some people just know when to stop. He know when to stop, I guess. I bet you he probably still feeling it though. And what he don't realize, or he probably do, people gonna look at him probably different. Whether no matter how much he try to explain himself, no matter how much he tries to ease out of it or weasel out of it, people are probably gonna look at him different. And you have to be able to take that cost when you do stuff like that. It's just like if a black dude wore a MAGA hat, people gonna look at you different. But if you stand on it, you gotta take what come with it. You can't do something and then when it's unfavorable, now you don't wanna you're trying to turn away from it. Yeah, you gotta take what come with it. But let me know in the comments.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Cause he went out there having fun, thought it was fun and games. Then it was
Back to life, back to reality.
when he went in that locker room, and then they came in there. The media was trying to probably blitz him on those questions. But let me know what you think, because a lot of times those random or even planned actions you think is gonna work, there's no guarantees, not at all.
I'm not really sure if I
So my last slide on this, and I'm about to get up out this thing, is why do people on the outside of politics talk more about politics than people on the inside of politics? Let me know, have you ever noticed this? People that be in politics or that were in politics, you very rarely hear them talking about the internal part of politics, like being a politician or being a senator, being a representative, being, they always, I don't know, maybe because it's paperwork they sign, but you never really hear the real of what they do day to day. What is it like? You only hear people that's outside of politics talking about politics. And for the average person, everyday 9 to 5 working person, we have a limited scope of, I'm putting myself in there, a limited scope of what politics really is, what they do. I would love, if a politician see this, I would love to have one come on, and if they can, and talk about what politicians do on a day-to-day basis, how they roll. That would be a cool conversation from an objective standpoint, no judgment. I would love to just have that content so people can know, what does a politician do day to day? Do you work 9 to 5? Do you go to work 5 days a week? Or do you just go to work during the session? What do they do day to day? What makes a good politician? What makes a bad politician? In their eyes, people who work in it every day. But it's amazing how people on the outside, all these news stations and stuff, talking about politics, but they haven't been in politics. I've noticed that a lot of people that's been in politics, you don't really hear them talking about it all the time, if at all. Like, you don't see Nancy Pelosi with a podcast talking about her time in politics. You don't see you see Obama, but I don't think he really talk about politics, but he always talk about other things around it, and they kind of talk in riddles, but they never give you the straight up of what politics or what they do on a day to day basis. So, but let me know in the comments, why do people on the outside of politics talk more about politics than people on the inside of politics? Love to hear the answer to that. Because ask yourself this, as a regular average person, how much does the average working 9 to 5, take your kids to school, work, pick your kids up, come home, they work a full day, 40 hours a week, other activities as far as being a regular citizen, how much do we really know about the internal, like, politics as a whole? Or do we only know what we see on the news, topics and headers, but do we really know the real about politics? Because when you think about certain jobs, how many people really know what an attorney does unless you really had to use one before? How many people really know what a judge do unless you really had to, or you know somebody that worked in a court as a judge? How many people know what the land commissioner does, or the commissioner of lands? How many people know that? Secretary of State, how many people know what they do? Shout out to Osiris Bali. He said he wanted to make something that talks about what the different offices do. I would love to get him on here. Let's make some video about that as well. Give a rundown on that. I think that would be awesome. But if you would like to hear that, let me know in the comments.
You want answers. I want the truth. You
I
can't
think that would be
handle
an
the
awesome
truth.
thing to do, because I think a lot of people, citizens, I want to say probably about 80% of citizens probably don't understand, because I don't need the internal part of politics. Once you get voted into office, what happens next? Do you have an office? Do you work from home? Are you traveling? What happens next in that term of being a politician? This is Mike. I just wanted to come talk a little bit. Been a long day. I'm about to go lay it down. Thanks for watching CTM Sports. Let me know, did Nick Bosa, did he MAGA crash out? Let me know, how much does the average citizen know about politics? Yo, this is Mike. I'm signing out. Watch the podcast, watch the clips, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm signing out.
That boy is good. That boy is good.
Good and terrible.